What are some of your biggest struggles as a first year teacher? Everything? Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name is Brianna, and today is going to be finally a first year teacher COVID teacher update. So if you guys are new to my channel, this is my first year as a teacher. I teach 9th grade English here in Texas. Obviously, first year teaching is crazy alone, but on top of teaching during a pandemic, it has just been quite the experience. So if you guys want to see my update, then just keep watching. So first things first, if you are a returning subscriber, you might notice my background is different. If you guys didn't see my apartment moving vlog videos, this is my new space. Once I get more moved in, I still have a couple more things to buy. I'm going to do a fully furnished apartment tour, but let me guys, I cannot talk. Let me know what you guys think about the background. You guys are going to be seeing different backgrounds now in my videos from my new apartment. So let's just get straight into it. It is Friday night. I just got home from a long week, a long day of work. I have no notes. Usually I kind of have an outline or plans of what to say. I just want to share what's been going on, my experiences, and I did ask you guys on YouTube if you have any questions. There were a couple of you who replied, so I will answer those. So yeah, let me just get started. So some background info for those of you who are new. Like I mentioned, I teach 9th grade English. It's my first year in Texas. So because of COVID, obviously this year has been a lot different. So for the first 6 weeks, my school district was 100% virtual. Us as teachers had the option to either work from home or from school. I would say maybe like 80% of that period I chose to work from school because I felt more productive and felt more like a teacher. And so after that first 6 weeks period, my school went into like a hybrid model. So kids had the option to either stay home or come to school on certain days depending on their last name. So ever since then, for the past, I want to say like 12 weeks, that's what we've been doing. So all teachers work from school. Kids whose last names start from A through L come Monday, Tuesday, every other Friday, and then the last half of the alphabet come Wednesday, Thursday, every other Friday. So most kids, I want to say, chose to stay virtual. And so on average for each of my class periods, I've only had between 2, and I would say the most I've had is maybe 7 or 8 kids in each class. And so yeah, school has been a lot different. We have to wear masks to school every single morning. We have to sanitize multiple times a day, get our temperatures checked, and that's the way that school has been. The only time that I take my mask off is when I'm alone in my classroom for lunch or during my conference period. Sometimes I do take off my mask during my synchronous sessions, which basically the way that our class works is we're on an A-day, B-day schedule. So A-day, there are 4 blocks. B-day, there's 4 blocks. The first half of the class is asynchronous, so kids are doing work on their own. The second half is synchronous, which if you are a teacher or a student, I'm sure that you've come to hate those 2 words. And so that second half is when I will have a Zoom meeting, or actually I've been using Microsoft Teams, where I'm teaching kids who are in person and also kids at home. So during those Teams meetings or live Zoom meetings, I will take off my mask because it's easier for me to talk to the kids who are online, and also all the students in my class are more than 10 feet away from me. Most sit in the back, I'm at my desk far away, and so those are the only times I take my mask off. So school has been a lot. I think I just finished week, I want to say 12, I think week 16. So I am about a week and a half away from finishing my first semester as a teacher, which is crazy. Yeah, this video might be a long one, so I'm going to start with actually answering those questions that you guys asked me on YouTube, just to kind of have some sort of track to stay on. So the first question, what are some of your biggest struggles as a first year teacher? Everything. So definitely being a first year teacher is tough because you've never done this before. With any job or activity, it's always scary because you're doing it for the first time. I am not fully certified. So I've mentioned this before. I did not go to school to be a teacher. I was a journalism major. I worked as a reporter for a bit and then decided to start substitute teaching, and now I'm working on becoming a teacher. So I'm still going through the process of being certified. So I did not go through student teaching. I didn't take classes in college to be a teacher. This is all very new to me, and I would say the biggest struggle is just knowing what to do. It's very much, how do I want to word this? My biggest struggle has been lesson planning and actual teaching. The other parts, as far as like classroom management, building relationships, communication, I would say those parts come with time and come more natural. My biggest struggle has been figuring out what to do. It's honestly a lot of pressure when you have to have everything planned out. Every single class period, every week, every 6 weeks, grading period, semester, and so planning has honestly been my biggest struggle. I would also say asking for help is something I've struggled with and really need to learn how to do more. It often feels like you're bothering people, or maybe it's something you should already know, and so I could have definitely saved myself a lot of time from the get-go if I would have just not been afraid to ask for help. Guys, when it comes to teaching, there are just so many moving parts, and nobody can prepare you for that until you're in it. There's different meetings and different procedures, just a whole bunch of different things to do that I had no clue. And so my biggest struggle is definitely just kind of finding out what everything is and being able to balance my time. Time management is such a huge problem that I've been having. There is always going to be more work. There's so many different things when it comes to being a teacher besides just teaching. I want to say the actual teaching part itself is such a small portion of what teachers do. Like I mentioned, there is so much planning and meetings and just a whole bunch of things that go into place. So I'm not sure if that exactly answered the question, but definitely my biggest struggle is just learning. It's a new job. I've never done this before, and COVID just adds on top of that. So learning and figuring things out has been my biggest struggle this semester. Do you find it hard to reach out to students who need extra support? So the thing about being a teacher is you are going to have so many different types of students in your class with various needs. On top of teaching during a pandemic, I have kids who are at home and kids who are in person, just a whole lot of things going on. I have kids who are advanced. I have kids who are special ed and have different needs. I have kids who have dyslexia, ADHD, anxiety. I have students who have behavioral problems. I have students who are still learning English. And so there's a whole bunch of different kids in my class. I have kids who are true freshmen. I have 10th graders, 11th graders who are repeating. And so it definitely is a lot because you are going to have a ton of different kids. They all have different backgrounds, different experiences. They're all at different levels academically, socially, emotionally. And so what was the question again? Do you find it hard to reach out? So the biggest thing that I am finding difficult as far as reaching out is the fact that school is virtual. So before, if school was normal, I would see these kids every other day in person. Now, some kids I have not seen at all because they don't have to log on to those live Zoom meetings. The kids who do come in person only come on certain days of the week, and we have an A-day, B-day block schedule. So I typically will only see the group of kids who come to school once, maybe twice a week. So communication has been hard. Students are not used to having to check their emails and actively be in that digital space. I think that's more of a college thing where you learn to check your emails and your learning management system. And so now these kids are a lot younger. My kids are in 9th grade and they're having to learn how to balance all these different courses online. And so actually reaching the student is what's been most difficult. Some kids aren't tech savvy. I know that Gen Z has had iPads and cell phones since birth, but some kids don't know how to work Gmail or log on and do all those different things. And so communication in general has been a struggle for kids who I know need extra help, like my kids who have ADHD, dyslexia, my special ed kids, my kids who are still learning learning English, I definitely do reach out and check on them more because I know they're the ones who need more help. But because of COVID, communication has definitely been difficult, as well as communication with parents. I know that parents are busy, there's a lot going on, and so overall this whole situation has made communication a lot more difficult than I think it would be if school were normal. How many hours a week do you work? So that definitely depends on what type of day it is, the week. I am going to tell you right now that I personally don't think there's any teacher, as far as I know, who only works during contract hours, like only works during the school day. There's just always so much to do. It's impossible, I think, unless you are very, very precise and good at time management, to only work during those school hours. It's not just teaching. Most jobs you do have to do work outside of your work hours. The only thing about teaching is there's not necessarily overtime. So whether I choose to grade papers for 1 hour on the weekend versus 10 hours, my checks are still the same. I think it just depends on the type of week. So normally I will spend more time outside of school hours working once it's getting closer to the end of a grading period, because I have to grade essays and papers and communicate students who are failing and finalize grades. Right now the semester is ending, and so even though I'm about to go on a 2.5 week break, I have a lot of work to do over that break. I'm going to be grading final exams, essays, putting everything together, checking on students, and so I can honestly not put a number on it, but I definitely am going to say that there has not been a single week that I have not worked outside of school hours. So I'm the type of teacher that I just don't like to stay long after school. So my school ends at 3 o'clock. Most days I'm gone by 3:15. Sometimes I'll stay until maybe 3:20, 3:30, but personally, once school is over, I'm going home. Now, once I get home, I am still lesson planning and grading and doing stuff, but I just really like to leave school and kind of come into my own space afterwards. Because of COVID, actually, teachers in my school are not allowed to stay past 4 p.m. because our custodians need time to clean. Before, I imagine some teachers might have stayed until 5, 6, 7 p.m., but I personally just need to have some balance between work and school for my own mental health. My school starts at 7:35, and typically I will get there between 7 and 7:15. Sometimes if I just really want to get there early, I'll come at about 6:45, 6:50, but I really don't come early. I don't stay late. I like to come home and relax, and then I'll bust out my laptop and do some work. Most weekends, pretty much every weekend, I have to either grade or lesson plan. There's another question that I kind of want to get into after that. How far in advance do you plan your lessons? So guys, I'm going to be straight up real and honest with you. This is an area that I've been struggling. I have forever been a super bad procrastinator. I've always been a great student. I've always loved school. I made good grades. I did my work, but I usually waited until the very last minute to do my work. Guys, I kid you not, in college, I was scraping by. I would choose a nap over studying for a test. I just always wait until the last minute. It's a terrible habit to have, and something that I constantly tell my students, like, why are you waiting until last minute? Why did you submit your work at 11 p.m. when you had all day? But here I am, oftentimes doing lessons last minute. My ideal weekend would be to come home on Friday and Saturday and not do anything school related, and then Sunday morning, afternoon, have my lessons planned out for the entire week. Have I actually done that? I want to say maybe once or twice I actually had the entire week planned out before it happened, but just being straight up honest, most times I'm planning the day before and kind of going as I go. So we have an A-day, B-day schedule, and I only teach 9th grade English, English 1. So every 2 days, I'm doing the exact same thing for 6 classes in a row. And so honestly, sometimes on Sunday, I'll plan Monday, Tuesday. When it gets to Tuesday evening, I'll plan Thursday, Friday, and kind of that's usually what it's been going like. Some days when I'm very bad, I will wake up and plan right before class begins. those lessons usually don't go as well. So I definitely do want to break that habit. Next semester, my goal is to plan out the entire week on Sunday and also have the next couple of weeks mapped out. I cannot stress the importance of planning, organization, and preparation when it comes to teaching. If you wait until last minute, that's going to reflect in your lessons. Your kids are going to be able to tell that you probably just threw something together. And I teach English. So depending on what subject you teach, you may be able to kind of just do something on the fly, but typically English and maybe other core subjects require a bit more planning. I can't just throw on a movie and say, let's watch this. I really do have to have a plan. And so I typically don't plan my lessons that far in advance. This last 6 weeks was the best I did. My team actually got together and we sat down and kind of had a skeleton map planned out of the entire 6 weeks. My goal is to be more on it next semester because I promise you that you will save yourself a lot of headaches and stress if you just plan ahead. That's the key to staying on top of things and not being stressed out, because guys, I am just causing more work for myself if I am waiting until last minute. So if you are thinking about being a teacher, if you're still in college, start working now to stop procrastination. Get that stuff done as soon as you can. Is it hard to memorize everyone's names? So initially I thought that there would be no way that I would memorize everybody's names. Now things are a bit different because I mentioned our hybrid virtual in-person schedule. So I have actually not physically seen everybody in class. I haven't had 30 kids sit down in front of me. However, the kids who do come in person, I quickly learn their names. Even kids who are only virtual that I've never actually physically seen, I know their names. I know what class periods they're in. I know kind of like what their work is like, their personalities. I think right now I want to say I have 173, 174 kids, a lot of students, but I know all of their names. I recognize their names, and once they finally came to school, or some of them did, it was amazing to put a face to a name. And so it actually wasn't too difficult. When you spend so many hours grading papers and seeing their names on a screen or on paper, you quickly will learn their names. Once more kids come face to face, which I'm not sure if they are going to, it will take some time just to put a face to a name, but I know all of my kids' names. All 175, I know their names. Are you making friends with the other teachers at your school? So the thing about COVID is I feel like that's really prevented a lot of socializing and getting to know new teachers. Typically my school, and I'm sure most schools, have different functions and programs and social gatherings for all staff, and also particularly for new and first year teachers. I know that usually we'll have things like lunches and other gatherings and meetings where we actually meet in the same room and not on Zoom. And so that is one thing that kind of is sad, is that I feel like I don't know a lot of teachers at my school. I teach at the high school that's very big. We have over 200 teachers, and so I definitely probably only know like 5% of the teachers at my school. The ones who I communicate with most are on my English 1 team. So we have what are called PLCs, professional learning communities, and so everybody in the same subject department will work together. And so I want to say I probably only know by name like teachers who I would say hi to. Of course, I say hi to everyone, good morning, have a great weekend, but teachers who I actually have spoken to and know, probably 10, not that many. So hopefully I can get to know more teachers better. The ones who I know best are the ones who I constantly am communicating with on my English 1 team. How do you handle discipline in the classroom? So because of our virtual and hybrid schedule, I actually luckily have really not had a lot of behavioral issues. Like I mentioned, most of my classes only have between 2 and 9 kids. Keep this in mind, kids don't have to come to school. I had a lot of kids who initially came to school and it just wasn't what they wanted, or they just wanted to sleep in and do their work when they wanted, so they went to virtual learning. So really, kids who are coming in person, they don't have to be there. And so I want to say most of the kids who maybe typically would have behavioral issues just stayed at home. The only thing that I have had to deal with is kids who come in person will not do their work and just sit there on their phones. Keep in mind, again, they don't have to come to school. They have the option to stay at home. I have had a couple of kids fall asleep in my classroom. I typically have all my lights out and I have like Christmas lights strung around and lamps, so it's more of a darker type of vibe. So yeah, I have had a couple of kids fall asleep. I'll come by and kind of just like tap on their desk and wake them up and say, hey, if you want to sleep, you could have just stayed at home. You're coming to school for a reason, so let's wake up and do our work. As far as the phone issue goes, so I personally do not and don't think I will take up cell phones, and there's a couple of reasons for that. The first reason is because of the nature of school right now. Sometimes I do have kids who will do their work from their phones. Everything, 100% everything is all online. We use Canvas, a learning management system, and so all of their work is online. Most kids have a school issued laptop, but some days maybe they forgot it or they just want to work on their phone. So I'm not going to take their phones away, because just the way that school is now is that they kind of need some type of device that they're able to get on the internet. But the main reason why I don't take their phone is because what does that solve? So when you come and say, give me your phone, either one or two things is going to happen. They are either going to refuse to give you their phone and say no, and then that battle, that argument is just not going to be worth it. It's going to create a bigger distraction for other kids. And what is that going to lead to? Either you have to kick them out of the classroom and then they just don't learn anything. What do they get out of going to the principal's office? Or you just lose that battle and it's super awkward and you just let them have their phone and go sit down. Or if they give you their phone, then what's gonna happen? They are either going to be upset and angry that you took their phone and just sit there and not do their work. Or maybe they will actually be scared of getting in trouble or not getting their phone back and they'll do their work. But what does that solve? It's not teaching them that they need to take ownership of their work. So I do not and don't think I am going to take cell phones, because that does not solve the problem. The problem is that they need to take ownership of this is their work and they have to get that done. So instead of taking their phone away, that's kind of just like putting a band-aid on the problem. It's not really solving it. I will talk to them, give them a couple of warnings, and if they keep doing it, I will kind of just come up to them, get down on their level and have a quick chat and say, hey, if you are going to be on your phone, then you are not going to get this work done and you are either going to fail or get a 0 for this assignment. You need this class to graduate. You need to pass this class or else you do have to retake it. English 1 is required. And so I think by teaching them that they need to take ownership and be responsible enough to say, hey, let me put my phone away and actually do my work, because I'm here to learn. I'm here to do something, not to sit on TikTok or Instagram or Snapchat. And so I think that students who, when you're in college, if you're in a lecture hall and you're on your phone, your professor is not going to stop the whole lecture and say, hey, you, give me your phone. They're going to ignore you, you're going to miss the lecture, and you're going to fail the test, the quiz, you're going to fail the class. We need to prepare kids in high school, younger kids, that they need to take ownership of their work. This is not my grade, this is your grade. I don't care if you sit on your phone and don't do your work. I do care, but they have to realize that it's their responsibility to be able to take ownership and responsibility. I think that's a super important lesson for them to learn. I, as a teacher, I obviously do care about them learning about English and poetry and analyzing this article, but I care more that they learn these life skills that are going to help them be successful in college and after college. They need to learn to have self-control, to say, hey, I'm gonna put my phone down and get this work done. Once I get home, I will have time to chill on TikTok. Another thing that I do allow is during that first half of class, the asynchronous portion, when they're doing work on their own, I told them that they are allowed to listen to music. So that is a privilege that I allow them to have. I think it makes it easier for them to work, but they also have to find that balance to not sit there on their phone and be changing the song for 15 minutes. And so I'm really trying to work with them to take more ownership, and I do not take up cell phones. That was really long. Besides that, I have not had any behavioral issues. The first week of school, I had somebody, I don't know who, crash my Zoom meeting and was like cussing and playing twerk songs. After that, I haven't had any other behavioral issues. I haven't had any attitudes, any kids yelling at me, talking back. And so that is one thing about this COVID pandemic situation that has been easier is classroom and behavioral management. Do you like teaching high school, or do you think you'd prefer teaching younger students? So what's funny is I actually just had this conversation with my cousin. She teaches first grade. Me personally, when I got into the education world as a sub, I tried grades 5 through 12, and I just immediately felt it and knew in my heart that I wanted to do high school. I love high school because they are becoming young adults, they're teenagers, they're soon to be off to college or in the workforce or military. They're going to be grown and able to vote on their own, and I just love that phase of life because I feel like that is so important to have positive role models and good teachers. I think back to when I was in high school, and I know that I had so many great coaches and teachers who really just instilled great qualities in me and helped me be better and push me to be more confident and more determined and hardworking. And so I truly knew that I wanted to do high school. I also liked that the kids were more mature and we were able to have more mature conversations. Guys, my kids and I have had some really great conversations, not all is academic, even just in passing and talking to them about serious things like the election, Black Lives Matter movement, gun control. And so I really love that age where they are starting to form their identity and they're really learning who they are. Now, I know the elementary school babies are so cute, but I just don't think my personality, I don't think my patience level, I would be able to deal with that. People who teach grades 5 and 6, you guys are saints. I subbed for a week there, and it's just their energy level and their emotional state. I don't think I have the patience or the temperament for that. My cousin that does first grade, there's a lot going on. You'll have kids who are biting, crying, just throwing temper tantrums. And so I personally don't think that I would ever teach anything lower. I may do middle school one day, but for right now, I think I only want to do high school. I really want to have juniors and seniors one day, but I love my freshman babies because they're so sweet, and I just love this point of life of transitioning between middle school to high school. I think that elementary does look so fun. The only thing that I was talking about with my cousin is that I feel like with virtual school, elementary school kids are just so much more engaged and they're more interactive. So my other cousin is in 4th grade, and they were saying how he would be like running and doing jumping jacks for his gym class online, and all the kids would just get on Zoom, have their cameras on, be singing songs and stuff. My kids are not like that. Most of them don't talk a lot or interact, unfortunately, or even turn on their video cameras. And so one thing that I do kind of think may be a bit easier with younger kids is that school is still fun to them. Once they start becoming teenagers, getting into that middle school, high school, it often just, it isn't fun anymore. My goal is to make it fun, but again, I just feel like in general for this virtual setting, it may be more engaging with younger kids, and you're able to do things like dances and play songs and do things that they actually are going to do. I was joking to my cousin that I should have like Baby Shark playing when my kids walk in and see if they'll like do the dance and sing. They probably would just look at me and just sit down and get on their phones, honestly. Oh, one more thing about teaching older kids in high school is that they are more independent, so I don't have to walk them to the bathroom, to lunch. I don't have to make sure they didn't leave their jacket, and I just like more independence because I just feel like I don't have the patience to do that. And also, whenever you teach elementary, you are teaching every single subject. Typically, depending on your grade level, you teach multiple subjects. For me, I only teach English 1. If you're teaching high school, you often maybe will only have 1, 2, maybe 3 different areas you're teaching. And that was the last question. This video is already pretty long, so I don't think I'm going to answer anything else, but that was the last question. So overall, I am surviving. I do just want to say that if you are out there and you want to be a teacher, this job is amazing. I know that I just had a lot of different negative points about how you work a lot and there's just a lot going on. Yes, this job is stressful. You are going to work a lot. You're going to cry. You're going to want to quit. But overall, the benefits definitely outweigh any of the cons. This job is just amazing because every single day is different. You never know what's going to happen. The interactions with kids are just amazing. I love whenever I see a kid who's been struggling kind of just like click and get it. I have been so excited because there's been kids who have turned in 0 assignments this entire year, and I see them turn something in, and even if they barely did it, I just feel so happy just to see progress. I love the conversation. Some of my kids have really opened up to me, either verbally or in some of their different writing assignments, and this job is such an important role. Sometimes kids don't have role models at home. They don't have parents, guardians, people to look up to, and maybe their coaches or their teachers are the only positive role model adults in their life. And so I think that this is such an important role, and it's so important to them developing and growing as people, as teenagers into young adults, to have good teachers and good people in their lives. I honestly can say that I never thought that I would be a teacher. When I finished high school, I was completely done. I said, I am done with this place. I got my diploma. I'm never coming back. Surprise, you're back in high school. Something that I think is so full circle is that this year, 10 years ago exactly, I began 9th grade and began high school. And now 10 years later, I am teaching 9th graders. So honestly, the world is crazy, and I think it just came full circle to me. I love having weekends off, even though I often work. I get to have holidays off I can spend with my family. I'm going to have the entire summer off. And I still get paid pretty well, so the salary does depend on where you work. Here in the Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area, I get paid well, I have benefits, I'm able to have a car, an apartment, provide for myself, and so I absolutely have loved teaching. Now, it has been very difficult and very stressful. I'm not going to act like it's just the easiest job ever. Teaching is hard. I'm sure you guys have heard this, but you don't really know until you're actually in it. It's not the same as being a sub. It's not the same as being a student teacher. There's no preparation, there's no course that can prepare you for this until you're actually in it. So it's difficult, it's challenging, but it's very rewarding, and I just love being able to go to school every single day, even on bad days, and see my kids and be able to talk to them and see them grow. The funniest part about being a teacher is when I tell people that I teach high school and they're like, what? Like, you look like you're still in high school. Yeah, I know that I definitely probably look younger than some of my kids, but I absolutely love being a teacher, and I definitely do want to make more teaching education videos. I know that I've been slacking, but my semester has been very hectic and crazy, so I am about to wrap up my first semester. Next semester, I want to be on top of it, be more organized, be more proactive, and hopefully upload more videos for you guys. So if you have anything you'd like to see, comment down below. Sorry that this video is super long. If you've watched all the way to the end, thank you guys so much. You're a real one. One more thing I do want to add is that some people have been requesting me to make videos about how I lesson plan. Just being straight honest, I am still figuring out what I'm doing, and my goal for my channel is to provide you guys with helpful information. I never want to just make a video just to make a video, and at the moment I don't feel confident enough to make a video to explain how I lesson plan and what I do. So once I get there, I definitely will share some tips and tricks, but I am still learning, so please be patient. Okay guys, so thank you so much for watching. If you're out there and you want to be a teacher, I promise you this is the best job ever. If you guys ever have any questions, comment down below. I'll get back to you guys. I also have an entire playlist of my journey being a sub, so if you want to check that out, let me know. And And I also forgot to talk about my update on becoming certified, so I will definitely make another video about that. The program I'm doing is called Texas Teachers of Tomorrow, so I definitely will make an update on how that progress has been going. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe down below. I'm getting so close to 10,000 subscribers, so thank you guys who have been subscribed. Hit that bell so that you don't miss any new uploads, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Stay safe, and I hope that you guys have great holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that stuff with your friends, family, and loved ones. Bye, y'all.